All right. Shema, Yasher Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Shema, Yasher Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. Shema, Yasher Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Achad. All right. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chakodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and our apostles in Great Millstone Ruwell and elder bishops in Great Millstone Ruwell. All right, peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. All right, Shalom, brother. Shalom, shalom. All right, and what I want to go into today is something that I had been meditating for about a week or so prior to doing this live stream, called the enchantments of love in this society. Because when we come into this knowledge, Yahweh Shema Shai causes us to sort of reevaluate every construct in our mind that we've built upon in this society, man. And I can't help but to think about a movie that was entitled Love and Other Drugs, which is a really good movie because it exposed the pharmaceutical industry. All right. Showing you how they sort of lobby to get certain medicine on the shelf. All right. But in that movie, all right, they called it, the name of the movie was called Love and Other Drugs, showing you that what Esau calls love is really an enchantment, because drugs are basically an enchantment. All right. But it referred to love as being an enchantment. All right. Because what we think love is on this side is not what the Most High means, all right, when he deals with love, okay? For an example, all right, in the book of Genesis, when Isaac sent his servants, Isaac had his servants to go fetch Rebecca, all right, to get his wife Rebecca, man, all right? Well, basically, I think Abraham had, the servants to do it, but basically a wife was gotten for Isaac. And of course, at that time, culturally, all of our women were virgins, okay? That was very important. But long story short, when he got with Rebecca, they went into the tent and he took it and he knew her. But then it said, and he loves her. So that him having sex with her cemented the marriage, all right? Isaac having sex with Rebecca cemented the marriage, man. But culturally, in the ancient world, not just in our homeland, Jerusalem, but it's in the ancient world in general, marriage wasn't built off the concept of being in love. Really, when a man is in love, really he's enchanted, all right? He's enchanted because he's stemming off the Hollywood love. He's coming from a position of the Disney Pixar enchantment, all right, of what they call love. Really, he's under a spell, okay? But it's like a drug because you releasing these same hormones that you'll release if you were on drugs, man. All right? But the Most High set it up to release these hormones, these parabundant hormones called oxytocin, with your woman, which is your wife. But see, we didn't build nations off couples being in love. Now your woman to be in love with you, but we didn't build nations of man being in love. All right, we put marriages together to build power and to build families, which in essence build nations. Okay, marriage, contrary to Western belief, was not built off the concept of being in love. All right, because what happens is when you have an arranged marriage, all right, you really don't know that person until y'all, have sex. But then y'all grow to love each other over the years. See, in degraded ass America, I gotta take a seat, man. This Mississippi heat is something else. But in degraded America, okay, you might meet somebody and y'all might come in having sex or whatever. But then there's the infatuation phase, what they call the infatuation phase. All right. But then that goes away. So Then after the infatuation phase, she might lose interest. All right. Then she might hop to the next man, or she might have already been dealing with other men, casually dating. All right. Openly dating, whatever you want to call it. All right. But that's all, that's cesspool, man. That's cesspool behavior. Or y'all fell out of love, so now y'all no longer want to be with each other. All right. But the real love, it happens over a period of time. Nobody's gonna be in love how they were when they first met. Then 40 years later, they still no love comes from it's a bond from being a team in a team with somebody, man. Or you working with this woman over a period of time. So we have enchantments, and and that enchantment is not according to the Bible. That's not of Yahweh Shema Shai, especially when it comes to the men. All right, that's a woman's arena, you know, being all of her feelings, being in love, and being bonded with her husband. Okay, but that's a drug and that's an enchantment. It's like a form of witchcraft, man. All right, and that's something that I've been meditating on. And they got this thing that says, "Nice guys finish last." All right, but what I was gonna say, they got this thing called "Nice guys finish last." But I had this conclusion. I had this concept in my mind through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai that there are two versions to women: how they look and who they are. Now, as it says in the scripture, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. All right. So there's two versions of women: how she looked and who she really is. And the beauty of a woman has been highly promoted in this society. The beauty of a woman has been highly promoted into this society to the point that it's been deified. And we have been sold on that image. Or we have been sold on that version of her that only consists of her looks, to the point where we think how she looks is who she is. You see? That's why the scripture says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. Because she has duties. She has duties. All right? So when we see women and we gaze upon their beauty, we become enchanted. And because we've been born and raised in Babylon, we equate to how she looked to her character. Okay? And that's an enchantment. And it's second nature damn near in America. We all do it. But we think because she's physically attractive or she's wearing something that captivates you, you associate that with her character. So you finish last, or we finish last, because we've given these women all this credit without really knowing who she is. All right? Even in this society, all right, your woman might not have her head covered. You know, she might not, you know, do this, that, and the third. But the reality is, in a lot of cases, it's the woman who shows interest in you. All right. And what I've noticed through is the energy and the connection between that is different. When a woman shows interest in you, that takes that enchantment out of your head. That takes that chase out of your head. That takes that, damn, she didn't text me back. Did I say something wrong? It takes that BS out of your head. All right. Now you're dealing with her from a reality point of view. Now you get to know her. All right. And she has to show you how she benefits your life. That's what you really deal with. Like, I can't micromanage. I'm not sitting here telling brothers how to deal with women. That's not my job or my place. But a lot of times when it's a woman that you might not have been looking at, but they have an interest in you, that takes that enchantment out of your head, man. All right? The overly excitement that she texts you back out of your head, man. All right? But like I said, we have been given, there are two versions to women. That's why it says also in the scriptures, what? Beauty is vain and favor is deceitful. Beauty is fucking vain, man. The Most High did not create almost 4 billion women to be goddesses, man. It doesn't work like that. All right? That's a fucking enchantment. All right? Shalom, shalom. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. All right, Barakathum and Ahabathum to you brothers and elders in this live chat. The water for tuning in. Okay, but we have to unplug from these damn enchantments, man. I say we because I was a part of it, and I have to make sure that I'm moving soberly in this society, man. A woman is not a goddess because she ain't got no clothes on, man. All right, right. They wake up every day looking for them likes. That's right. And you think about it, because a lot of brothers go on social media. You might have a business. You might sell a product. You might sell bracelets and crystals or whatever your talent is. Then you go on Instagram and you have women, they just take fucking pictures of themselves and they get all these likes, man. All right. But drawing back to the scriptures, man. All right. And less clothes is actually less value. Hey, that's a beautiful point. All right. There we go with the scripture. It's from GMS Chicago, Rapaya, the end. So Rock 25 and 21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, desire her not for pleasure. Hey, because we coming back in the rulership, brothers. We coming back in the rulership. All right. So we have to maintain some type of reserve about ourselves that we don't go buck wild over every woman we see. Because really those are enchantments. Like a brother put up that video when that nigga woman with that blonde hair from the UK was saying, traditionally speaking, we as women were up here and you as men were down there. But that's not so. Traditionally speaking, the average woman you see on social media would be called prostitutes. All right. So the average woman that you enchanted by, really, she's a whore, man. All right. And that's why it also says in Sirach, the 9th chapter, gaze not upon a maid and go not away with the harlot, lest you be taken by her deceits, basically, man. All right, that's another one. Yep. Sirach 18 and 30. Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thy appetites. And that shit will save you, man. Because truth be told, it's an animal inside of us, man. We have a beastly nature inside of us. So the Most High gave us laws to rule over our own beastly nature. All right. That's why I said, in the scriptures, how we once lived after the flesh, we once lived after the Gentiles. If you look up that word flesh, that goes into a primitive beastly nature. When you look up these series about the Roman Empire, that's just a caveman in his rulership. See, America, don't get it twisted. Don't let the power and the riches deceive you. It is a caveman in a first world country. But the behavior is still that. It's still vowed like that of a base man. All right. Proverbs 23 and 2. And put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man given to appetite. And that's a beautiful scripture. And that goes right into that scripture in Sirach. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, desire not. I'm sorry. Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thy appetites, man. And they also got this thing where it says, like, why don't women like nice guys? But for one perspective, I believe we've been duped. I think somewhere after the feminist movement, women have been liberated. And that's a fact. Women have been liberated. But what were they liberated from, man? They were liberated from a traditional structure that guarded them from their own nature. Because, as it says in Sirach, if a daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly. So traditionally, you'll keep your daughter in straitly till she became an adult, so to speak, and then she got married off. Traditionally, women were expected to be virgins before they quote unquote got married. So this new paradigm where women leave high school, then they go to college and play the field and delay what they call marriage in this society, that's not a natural phenomenon. You putting yourself on birth control and you having all these sexual partners, that's not a natural phenomenon. Now the man that you're going to quote unquote marry, all right, he's going to get a used product. And when women stop looking for families, and that caused women to not prioritize having a family at a young age. So if she stopped looking for a family at a young age, what does that mean? She stopped looking for a family man at a certain age. See, it's not that there's something wrong with brothers or, you ain't got game. It is that a lot of brothers and a lot of jakes in this society, people, they're still traditionally minded in the sense that they go to work, they pay their bills, they got a car note. You're just a traditional man. But what happens is your female counterpart has been liberated from your structure. And so she's been liberated to deal with men off her own appetite, off her own lust, man, which are usually not men that's conducive to building a family. Hence the single mother phenomenon that we have in the so-called black community. Sirach 25 and 25. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to guide a bride. And don't you know that when you rule over your family, whether it's your wife, your son and daughter, all right, you're civilizing them. That's why, that's why when they took the men out the household, they took civilization out of society or civilization out of our nation, because the man he civilizes, all right, his subjects. Just on a broader scale, you will take over, say, a pagan nation, so to speak, like the European colonization narrative. They civilize everybody. That's what they say. Or you take your sons and your daughters and you civilize them. That's why you got your son. He has that willful, wild nature, but you whoop him and you correct him. And you have him, pull his pants up and say, yes, sir, no, sir. For an example, that's a form of civilizing, man. When you have your daughter raised by mature women and she's taught self-respect and to curb her appetites and reserve herself for an actual real man, all right, you're civilizing your daughter. Well, so because people without the law, statutes, and commandments, people without structure are animals. So when you see our women outside of the construct of what we call marriage today, really she's in a very primitive state, man. All those twerk videos and women just wilding out, really they're in the wild. We're part of a structure that keeps us civilized, man. And you see niggas in the world, those niggas are in the wild, man. All right. But going back to the live stream, the topic of the live stream, the enchantments of love in this society, man. All right, all these love songs and you singing to women, all right. All right, where's that in the Bible, man? Where's that in the scripture, man? But they demonize the instinct in you to put people in their place, man. All right, GMS two-edged sword, Proverbs 23:13. Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. And something that a lot of us know because we have children and stepchildren and all the other stuff is that discipline, hey, it cultivates them, it civilizes them. If you look up the word chastise in the New Testament, one of the key definitions is surprisingly, it means to cultivate and nourish, all right, and also to correct. So when you raise children, you're really civilizing them out of their basic nature, all right. That's why when Esau had the welfare state and the feminist movement and subsidized single parent household, what type of men and women that produce? It produced men and women who are going off their natural instinct. Yep. Hey, Lawrence here said, Lord, love is blind. All right. But yeah, the feminist movement, the welfare state, Esau created communities that were like enclosed jungles. That's why they call it the hood, the concrete jungle. But what made it the jungle? They took the men out the household. So what does the man do? He controls his subjects. He dominates the nature of the people under him. He protects you from your own nature, whether it's the daughter and her promiscuous nature or the son and that wild brute nature. But when they took that out the household, what did you have? All right. You had Amos 7:17. That's what you had. Thy wife should be a harlot in the city. And it said our sons and our daughters shall fall by the sword, man. You had, what's the Isaiah 51? And our sons like wait as a wild bull, man. It's a wild bull in the net. But part of that was manifested when he took those rulers out of the household. He took those men out of the household. Now he has a philosophy that it's just second nature for a woman to just have children without being part of a structure. Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it, man. All right? And these scriptures were not written to women. These scriptures were written for the Israelite man. Okay? So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, the whole world is about to be tamed. Starting with Yahweh and him sending his son Yahweh Shai to come and do a military coup. What's about to happen now is a military coup. All right? That's why he's referred to as the Lord of hosts. That's about to be a military coup. And he's about to kick all these kings, namely the elites, out of their rulership. And then what he's going to do is pursuant to Daniel the 7th chapter, the saints shall take the kingdom. All right? He's going to put his subjects under his rulership. He's going to put, his friends under his rulership, his men, the elect. Like going back to the book of Esther, all right? When the king came into power, he put the princes over different provinces, man. He put princes over different provinces, man. For an example, you got the continent of America, but then you got the 50 states within the United States. So you got a so-called president, then you got like 50 governors in each state. But But then under those governors, you got mayors in each city. All right. So Yahweh Shai is going to do it like that. He's going to subjugate the planet Earth. All right. Then he's going to put the elect up under his rulership. Now we're going to rule. All right. Yo, I got to get that scripture. Psalm 73 and 22. So foolish was I and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee. Before we came into the knowledge, we were a part of a beast culture. I don't care if you were a part of the urban so-called black culture or you were just in America. You were still a part of a beast culture, man. But going back to what I was saying, all right, Yahweh Shai is going to do like the ancient kings did, all right? He's going to take over the planet Earth, all the kingdoms of the planet Earth. Then he's going to allot different positions to the hopeful elect, all right? But the last level of rulership is the household. So going back to the first analogy, you got the president of the United States, just giving an example, and the 50 states ruled by governors. But under those governors, you got all these cities within those states ruled by mayors. All right. You got city councilmen and things of that nature. But the last level of that is the men who rule their household. Don't you know that you ruling your household is an extension of the government of Israel? All right. Because you say you have an Israelite king. All right. Then you have the elders of the city. But it's expected for you to govern your household, man. So that goes to show you women's liberation. All right. Women's liberation and the welfare system. All right. Was a government overthrow. It was a domestic overthrow, man. It was a domestic overthrow, man, by the serpent, man. Very subtle. All right. Ecclesiastes 10 and 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. All right. That's why the Most High commanded us in the laws of Moses to wake up in the morning talking about the law. All right. You program your children, your sons and daughters with the law. Put the law on your walls and your houses, man, because that was an extension of their government. All right. You're an extension of the king. Whatever your nation is, which our nation is the nation of Israel, we are an extension of King David. Just a common man is an extension of the supreme government that rules in their dominion, man. All right. Yep. Sirach 10 and 2. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein, man. All right. And your household is a form of government, man. But Esau, he kicked us. It was a government. Women's liberation was actually a government overthrow. It was a domestic government overthrow, because the seat of a nation starts in the household. The seat of the nation starts in the household, but they demonize your rulership by saying it was like toxic masculinity. But now the Most High allowed this to happen, because it's like he's saying, okay, you see what happens when we take you out the household? You see what happens when we allow women to go off their own devices? I know this may not sound good to certain people, but women were not meant to go off their own devices, man. Humans were not meant to go off their own devices, man. Because a woman's brute nature, a woman's untamed nature is sexual promiscuity. All right? A woman's brute nature is sexual promiscuity, man. But via Spirit 4:4, it's like Eve don't think correction exists. Exactly. What the hell is correction? All right? But Eve reminds me of the scripture in Ezekiel, the 16th chapter, where the Most High personified Israel as a woman, but it refers to Israel as like an imperial whore. I think that was the word, imperial whore. But basically, it's a high-minded whore. It's a whore you can't tell shit. It's a whore with a superiority complex, man. Who does that sound like, man? All right? Eve is a microcosm of the nation of Israel. And that's why we over here in the first place, man. That's why we got to suffer this shit, man. All right? Let me go back to it. Sirach 39 and 17, because Yahweh have deprived her of wisdom, neither have he imparted to her understanding. Right? So now we see why over there in the Middle East, they especially like in the I want to say Saudi Arabia, those women are required to be covered, man. Those women are required to reserve themselves to marriage, man. All right. And one might say, those women were required reserved for marriage, and they have strict regulations on women because they understand the nature of a woman. Like the red pill community goes into the nature of a woman, and we pretty much get it. All right, it's basically it's a snare type nature, and it's a promiscuous nature. All right, Sirach 25:24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. All right, and we can have more than one woman, but guess what? Our culture, all right, regulates that. It gives us laws that if you do have more than one woman, these are the laws that you can't, whatever you was giving your first woman, you can't stop giving that to her if you got a second woman. Now, that's not convenient now, but just in general, in theory, you know. But a woman might say, well, how come y'all can have more than one woman, but we can't have more than one man? All right. You can't regulate promiscuity. If you have sex with different men, how we gonna know who the father is, man? All right, and don't stop questioning the ways of Yahweh Shema Shai. Then y'all outnumber us, man. So what does that tell you? All right, Exodus 21:10. If he take him another wife, hey, brother's quick, man. God, dog. Exodus 21:10. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not diminish. That's called regulating our polygamous nature. You see? Yeah, but the water, brother, y'all in the spirit, man. But yeah, that's called regulation, man. See, the Most High creates systems within the law to regulate human function, to regulate human nature. Like I said, there's no law that command us to go and rape a woman, but that's part of human nature to where a man can very well possibly see a woman and he can't contain himself and he takes it. The Most High didn't tell us to do it, but he gave us a law to regulate it if it did happen. See? Our nation is so bad, man. Government, the concept of governing, that's high power, man. All right. Genesis 9:7, and you be ye fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein. Right. And we will be fruitful and multiply. And that was the original commandment. And the Most High gave us structures and systems to do that, man. All right. But Esau, he took our nation and he polluted it, man. In something called nigger culture. All right. And that's something else I want to say on my spirit and the water for bringing out these scriptures, brothers. The underworld in our society was never supposed to dominate our nation. And I got to stop saying black culture, Hispanic culture, Native American culture. All right. Because in every culture, you have promiscuity. You got the underdogs in that society. You got the underworld. You got the drug dealers, the drug users, the pimps, the gangsters. All right. The hustlers. Like I said, the prostitutes, they all belong to the underworld, all right, in a modern day existence. But that was never supposed to dominate our nation. So the average so-called Israelite man thinks he's a damn street nigga. All right, to the average Israelite woman is an imperial whore that has niggas all in her phone, man. All right, that was supposed to never dominate the existence of our nation, man. All right. So that's the way you know that it's out of order. Because the very woman that you instinctively pursue because you were sexually enticed, you don't want your daughter, you don't want that woman to have your daughter. You don't want your daughter to become that woman. That's how you know our nation is out of order, man, because the very thing that you go after you like, you don't want done to you. You don't want that coming from your household, all right? But if you go into the history, that degrading of human existence is part of the downfall of a nation. Before Rome fell, everything started to become degraded. Even the entertainment became degraded. It was all about sexual debauchery, even in the music. Okay? But I believe I pretty much got out through the spirit, whatever was supposed to come out through the spirit, man. But we have enchantments in a society. You know, that head over heels being in love with some woman, that's not how we built the nation. You know, you could have got arranged in a marriage and y'all grew to love each other. Like I had a teacher from Elam, she was like, she grew to love her husband in which she was arranged to be married in, man. All right. But all that Disney, Pixar, fantasy shit, it's an enchantment. All right. It just BS. Okay. But you know, that's pretty much the point, man. You know, not acting like we all callous over here. We walking around beating our women, but we do have to unplug from certain false realities. That's why they got that thing called the beta male and the blue pill. All right. Because He's maneuvering in this world through a rose-colored glass, man. Colossians 3:2, set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. All right. But that's pretty much the point. You know, the water brothers for tuning in to the live stream. I hope brothers and sisters were edified. You know, the Most High, he's raising up the tabernacle of David, and we coming from the perspective of builders, all right, and rulers. The Most High is conditioning us to rule, you know, not sit here and be in our feelings, you know. All right, he's conditioning. He's taking us out of that Roman, which that's where we get romance from, the Romans, all right. He's taking us out of that romance state of mind and put us in that ruling state of mind. But with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Shema Shai, by Hashem Kakudash, double honor to our apostles, great millstone rule well. Peace and blessing to the house of David the elect. Abba, come Yashala, Shalom.